Arjun strung his Gandiv and pulled the string to create a loud twang. The sound reverberated through the valley and ran shivers down the spines of the Kaurav army. The twang of the mighty Gandiv was well known to them, and they feared Arjun was closer than they would like him to be.
In the Mahabharata, Arjun received a weapon, a bow from the gods. This bow had a sound so fierce, it scared the enemy on the field even before being hit. The bow was called Gandiv. I set out to design the sound of the Gandiv using a hybrid approach. The draw sound was the real recording of leather creaking, and the sound of the release was created using a physical modeling synthesizer called Sculpture. Now, Sculpture comes bundled with Logic, and it's a deep and flexible tool. This is really not a full tutorial for it. Rather, I will briefly go over the Gandiv release sound as was implemented in Sculpture. I have Sculpture up now. What I'm going to do is pick a preset which zeroes out all of the settings for this particular patch, and we'll start going through the signal flow in here. First thing that we want to look at is this picture to the left of center. See the center, it says material. To the left of it, there's a grayed out region, has a green horizontal line and 3 buttons surrounding it. Buttons 1, 2, and 3 represent objects that can impact the string, exciting it and causing it to vibrate in various ways. The location of the objects along the string can be controlled by the user, as well as the location of 2 pickups, which are represented by these vertical brown orangish lines. Those pickups can also be positioned along the string and also affect the sound, just like pickups on an electric guitar, for example. So we're going to turn on object number 1. Object number 1 has a selection. You can use an impulse, a strike, a pick, a bow, a noise, blowing on the string, various types of excitation. I picked impulse. And let's see what that by itself sounds like. Now, we have to look at another section in order to understand the nature of this sound. So we're going to jump to the other side of the central material circle, and we're going to see an envelope. This envelope is an attack, decay, sustain, release type of envelope, common in synthesizer, and it controls the levels in the output section of the synthesizer. Now, in particular, what you will see is that we have a very short attack, which causes this punchy impulse. For example, if I raise the attack, you will see that it will start, right? We lost the impact at the beginning. So I'm going to return it back to a very low number. Now this is a good start, but it's not enough because I wanted the bow itself, the object, to sound reverberating, long, kind of drony sound, and I didn't want to rely on a reverb effect at the end of the chain. I wanted that to be part of the model itself. So to that end, I turn to the second object. Second object is going to excite the string together with the impulse, but I'm going to introduce a noise element that is going to create some sort of a random, prolonged excitation of the string. And this is what it's going to sound like. Again, without the second object, with a second object. Now, to hear this really well, you would need either good monitors or headphones on. Okay, so where do we go from here? The signal now is going to go into a wave shaper. The wave shaper is a section up at the top here, and it can introduce various types of saturation distortion. If I turn it on now, if I click on it, you'll see there's a few different types of distortion. I picked the scream type of distortion, and let's see what it sounds like now. Again, without the wave shaper, with the wave shaper. I should have mentioned the circle in the middle where it says material earlier, because this section gives you control over what type of material the string we're emulating is made of. There are four general categories called nylon, wood, glass, and steel. And we can position this controller, this XY controller, anywhere in between them and get different sounds. So in order to make it clear, I'm going to turn back off the wave shaper and also object 2. And let's remember what that sounded like. Right, but if I move this now to be more towards the nylon, it would sound like this. If I moved it closer to wood, it would sound like this. If I moved it more towards glass, it would sound like that. There's sort of like a zing where the glass is vibrating. If I moved it more towards the steel, it would sound like this. And what we ended up with was something around here, I think. Let me go back to the init. Now, after the shaper, the signal is going to go through the filter. The filter, if we turn it on, we have high pass, low pass, peak, band pass, notch. I picked a low pass in order to cut down some of the highs and also control the manner in which the highs are being cut off. So if we just turn the filter on and play the note, you will hear that a lot of the top end is gone. However, the idea was to use the filter in conjunction with the filter envelope. Filter envelope that I'm using is represented down here on the right, and you can see that the target, it says cutoff. So if you look at the shape of this envelope, the envelope is going to open the filter very quickly, and then gradually along this curve change the cutoff frequency. This should give us a sort of a twang where you have initial brightness and then it will get duller. So this is with the filter and filter envelope. Again, if I remove the filter envelope with a filter envelope, quite a big difference. Moving on, the signal is going to go up into the effects section. I turned on a delay effect in here in order to cause some sort of an echoing effect. This could be done outside of the synthesizer, but this makes it an integral part of the patch, an integral part of the sound. And of course, it has additional benefits of being able to modulate it and so forth and so forth. So this is the effect levels and feedback that I chose. The repeat of the delay are not being synced to the tempo of the project because this is really not a musical piece with a tempo. Rather, I picked a certain delay time, 330 milliseconds in this case, and this is what it sounds like now with some delay repeats. From this section, the signal is going to go into an equalizer. We have a body EQ, which is supposed to emulate the sound of the box, if you will, or the enclosure or the space that the string is reverberating in. It is sort of a coarse level equalization. I picked a simple low, mid, high EQ and set the mids and the highs to bring them back out a little bit since we lost some of them during the filter. So this is the extent of the modeling work that was done inside Sculpture. But this is not the end of the sound design, because I wanted to add another level of aggressive crunch to the sound in order to represent the scary and mythical, magical nature of this weapon. And to that, I turned to the FabFilter Saturn plugin, which you can see here on the side. I turned on briefly. That's what the interface looks like. We're not going to get into that in detail. However, I selected and sculpted the sound, and this is what it sounds like. So there you have it. This is an example of how I use a physical modeling synthesizer and some effects to create a sound effect. I hope you found it interesting. Thanks for watching.